All right, let's dive in. Today, we're all about The Green Linnet, that gem by William Wordsworth.
Yeah, it's funny.
We've got a whole stack of sources, ready biography, some critical takes, even a bit of historical background.
Yeah, The Green Linnet. People kind of brush it off as just another nature poem.
Right, but the goal here, as always, is to help you, the listener, really get it.
But if you really dig in, really get down in the dirt with it, you see Wordsworth using this, what seems like a simple bird,
Just
to explore, some really big ideas.
joy, freedom, even, what's that word,
The relationship between us humans and nature.
Exactly. Okay, so before we go full-on symbol hunting, let's get some basics down.
Sure.
Wordsworth, the man himself, our sources tell us, born in the Lake District, England. And if you haven't seen pictures, Google it right now. Stunning.
Beautiful part of the world.
Lakes, hills, the whole 9 yards.
Absolutely.
So is it just chance that one of our biggest nature-loving poets pops up from such a naturally gifted place?
Oh, not a chance. I mean, the Lake District, those landscapes, it's not just pretty. It's seeped into Wordsworth's very imagination.
Right.
It's where he formed that deep, and I mean deep, love for nature.
The love that basically became like his trademark. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. And the whole romantic movement he's so central to, they all took that and ran with it.
So picture young Wordsworth, right? Just roaming these hills,
Yeah.
taking it all in. And you can see how that breeds the poetry later on.
Absolutely. It's formative.
And it's not just pretty scenery, postcards and whatnot for Wordsworth and the Romantics. Nature was deeper.
Much deeper, yes.
It's like a spiritual thing, a connection.
Exactly. And to really grasp the Green Linnet, you got to remember Romanticism was like this counter movement,
Oh, yeah.
pushing back against the Enlightenment and their obsession with just reason, logic, the head stuff.
Right, the cold, hard facts.
It was a whole swing towards emotion, gut feeling, that intuition thing.
Feeling it, not just thinking it.
And the belief that nature held truths you couldn't just think your way to.
So you had to experience it.
Exactly. And Wordsworth, more than, I'd argue, any other poet of his time, he embodied that shift.
He was the poster boy for feeling.
In a way, yeah.
All right, so history lesson done. Let's tackle the poem.
Let's do it.
The Green Linnet opens with our speaker, chilling in an orchard, springtime, sun's out, blossoms are popping off.
It's like pure tranquility, the setting.
Textbook romantic.
Right, it just screams harmony, the speaker and nature vibing.
And then, bam, enters the linnet.
Star of the show.
Wordsworth doesn't just tell you about this bird, he paints it, perched up in those hazel trees, green against the blue sky.
Yeah.
But it's more than just what it looks like. He uses words, ecstasies, gladness.
To show us how alive this little dude is.
The energy, the pure joy, it's unrestrained.
He's not just any bird. He's like the king of the orchard.
Yeah.
Poem calls him the presiding spirit, leading the revels of the May.
Like it's almost mythic.
And that's the point. Wordsworth is taking this linnet, this tiny thing, and making it much more.
A symbol.
A symbol, yeah, of nature itself, the energy, the life force.
And the linnet is, what's the phrase, scattering thy gladness without care.
Yeah, pure freedom. Something, our speaker, he admires it.
Maybe even a little jealous.
Perhaps. There's a tension there, right?
Right. The carefree bird and the speaker watching, wondering.
Classic romantic poetry. That push and pull between us and the natural world.
Because for Wordsworth, nature, it wasn't just a backdrop.
No, it was a path.
To, like, spiritual stuff.
Wisdom, inspiration, the real deal.
And Mr. Linnet, he's the guide.
Leading the way to that pure joy. The kind Wordsworth believed we could all tap into.
If we could just get out of our own heads.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've got this linnet, right? He's like the poster child for joy, freedom, even, bucking the system.
Right, but how does it fit into Wordsworth's own life and, like, the whole world he lived in?
Yeah, good point, because it wasn't all birds and blossoms back then.
No, not at all. Remember we talked about Romanticism being this reaction.
Against all that Enlightenment logic.
Yeah, exactly. Well, while Wordsworth is out there writing, Europe's going through some serious stuff.
Like what?
You've got the French Revolution happening, industrialization is kicking off.
Big changes.
Huge changes, and all these ideas about, individual rights, freedom, they're flying around everywhere.
Sounds kind of familiar, actually.
Right? Like parallels to today in Wordsworth, he's right in the thick of it, absorbing it all.
So he sees all this chaos, all this change.
And for him, nature is like this refuge, this antidote to all the ugliness of the world.
And the linnet, with all that untamed energy, it's like it represents what people are losing.
Yeah, that freedom, that authenticity. Wordsworth is like, hey, look at this little guy. He's not playing by anyone's rules. He's just living his best life.
And maybe, he's saying, maybe we can learn a thing or two.
Exactly. And this whole idea of finding wisdom, inspiration in nature, it wasn't just Wordsworth's thing.
It was like a movement.
The whole Romantic gang, they were all about it. Think of Caspar David Friedrich. You know, those intense paintings of landscapes.
Oh, yeah.
Or Mary Shelley, Frankenstein, that whole exploration of nature's power.
To create, but also to destroy.
Right. So Wordsworth, he wasn't just some lone wolf out there talking to birds. He was part of something bigger.
A whole bunch of artists, like, shaking things up, challenging the status quo.
Exactly. And the Green Linnet, it's a prime example of that. You know, the celebration of nature, individual experience, freedom.
It's like a mini manifesto tucked into a poem.
You could say that. It's not just pretty words. It's a statement, a challenge.
Okay, but let's zoom back in on the poem itself for a sec.
Sure.
There's this one line that really got me thinking, where Wordsworth says, the linnet's mocking the voiceless form he chose to feign.
Ooh, yeah.
Like, what's that about? It's almost like the bird's making fun of Wordsworth for even trying to write about it.
You're right. It's like Wordsworth is aware of the limits of language.
Like, words can't really capture nature.
It's one of those central tensions in Romantic art, that struggle to put something so wild, so free, into mere words.
He knows he can't really do the linnet song justice, no matter how hard he tries.
And that awareness, that's what gives the poem its power.
So it's not about perfect description. It's about evoking the feeling.
The wonder, the longing. Yeah.
It's like, you ever watch those nature documentaries?
Oh, yeah. I love those.
And they're trying to capture the sound of, like, a whale's call or something.
Right.
But no matter how good the recording is, it's just not the same as being there.
Exactly. And that's what Romantic art is all about. It's not about replicating. It's about inspiring you to go have that experience yourself.
To go find your own whale or linnet.
To awaken that sense of wonder that Wordsworth felt in that orchard.
So it's like the green linnet is kind of this peek into Wordsworth's head, his heart even.
Showing us how he saw the world, what mattered to him.
Nature, freedom, all that good stuff.
Absolutely.
It's like, okay, we've talked about the linnet, right? Joy, freedom, all that. But that line about the mocking and the voiceless form, it sticks with me.
Yeah, it's powerful, isn't it?
Wordsworth, like, he's admitting, right, he can't truly capture it, the linnet, with just words.
It's that awareness that even in celebrating this bird, the poem itself can only be like a shadow of the real thing.
It's like, how do you explain what chocolate tastes like?
Oh, I like this. Go on.
You can say rich, sweet, smooth, but until you bite into it, you don't really know.
Perfect analogy. And that's Wordsworth's genius. He's not just describing. He's practically begging you, go find your own linnet.
Experience it for yourself.
Exactly. That's where the real beauty is, not on the page.
So the poem's like a map. Yeah. To a treasure, you got to dig up yourself.
Exactly. And that treasure, it's that joy, that connection to nature, the thing the linnet stands for.
But you can't put into words. You got to live it out.
You got it. And I think that's the Green Linnet's real message. Happiness, fulfillment. It's not from books. It's from that lived experience.
Connecting to, like, something bigger.
Yes. And isn't that so relevant now? You know, worlds full of screens, information overload. It's easy to forget.
To forget to actually, like, live.
Right. Wordsworth would have a field day with that, I bet. For him, joy comes from direct experience. You know, being in nature, letting it move you.
Like putting down the phone, looking around.
Exactly. And those moments, that awe, it's not just like a nice bonus. It's crucial for us, for all of us.
Keeps us sane, you're saying.
More than that, it reminds us where we fit in, connects us back to what matters, what brings us joy.
Hits the reset button.
Yeah, it brings back that childlike wonder, you know?
Yeah.
Wordsworth believed kids, they just get it, that connection to nature. And we got to, like, relearn it as adults.
So the Green Linnet, more than just a poem, it's what, like life advice?
You could say that it's reminding us real happiness, it's not stuff, it's not achievements, it's something deeper, something that feeds the soul.
Profound stuff from a little green bird. I gotta say, wrapping up this deep dive, I'm feeling, I don't know, hopeful. Like, yeah, world's a mess, but there's still beauty, still joy out there.
Well said. And I think that's perfect. Remember, even when things are rough, there's wonder to be found if you look for it.
Your own linnet singing its song.
Maybe next time you're out there, you'll hear it and think of Wordsworth.
And feel that romantic spirit, that awe that gave us such amazing poetry. Until next time, folks, keep exploring, keep questioning, keep listening to the world's song.